Architecture is art, and art evokes a lot of spirituality with it. Art has life in it.
So when we first got handed the project, everything was chill. Everybody had their tasks that they were supposed to do. But as the project progressed, it started getting serious.
And what we try to do at the building practice, and what we have done consistently, is to ensure that our buildings leave good taste in the mouths of not just our clients, but everybody who experiences either the building or the space in which that they are located.
When it was time to finally present, we had to take things very seriously. We had to attack it heads on because we really wanted to get this project because it's a very unique one and it's something that we hadn't done before.
My name is Michael Oluwafemi Ali. I'm an architect. I run the Building Practice Limited, an architectural firm based here in Lagos, Nigeria. Primarily an architect, a project manager, an interior designer, a fire consultant, and a sustainability expert. All these things put together makes me professional who I am today and enables me to do the work that I engage in from day to day. There's no champion, like we say in the building practice. We are just a group of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. So what we do at the building practice, we try as much as possible to ensure that our architecture expresses our Africanism, our Africanness in everything that we do. We try to ensure that there are intonations of culture, our values, our traditions, in the various elements and components that we use to express our art. And over the years succeeded in infusing this in the various buildings that we have worked on, either in the ways the buildings look, either in the textures that we use, the colors that we use, the kinds of the elements and components that we use in our facade. And all this, we try as much as possible to ensure that they add and enhance the sustainability of our projects by way of ventilation, by way of lighting, by way of energy conservation in various forms. So what we do here ensures that we enhance green buildings measures and sustainability as much as we can.
See, the client is a sophisticated client that precision and efficiency is part of their primary goals.
When we got on board this project, we met a new type of client who insisted on working in a certain way. The RFP that was issued to us came with a set of building codes. Some of them were used to them, some of them were very used to them. So we knew from the get-go that you cannot design this structure or the welcome center based on your feelings. You had to work with certain guidelines around and within certain parameters, which were codes from the International Building Code. They had a lot of BS codes, they had a lot of EN codes. In fact, they gave us a list of codes that we must abide by. And at every stage of the project, we were required to submit design reports to show our adherence to these codes.
It was something that was new and interesting to us.
So we as building practice made sure that we made perfection an element in this project. And I think that was part of the key success that made the project come out the way it came.
So my first thought was that we had an opportunity to create something special. We were all excited at the opportunity that we had to express our architecture in the way we actually want to express it. Now, the brief was very interesting. Create something that is different. Create something that is not a conventional structure. Create something that identifies with the locality, with the culture of the people, with the African spirit. And so first thing that came to mind was that we had an opportunity to do something that will be a landmark and will leave a very, very long-lasting legacy, not just for the client, but because of the location, which is very strategic. It is directly beside the new refinery and it is on that same express. So whoever it is that passes that road, whether you have business within the zone or not, will have an experience of what true African architecture can be. There was a story behind what needed to be created. What needed to be created was an entrance arc that ceremoniously welcomes people into the Lagos Free Zone. And so we knew that it was important for us to key into that story. What can we do to come up with something that architecture can offer to solve this problem? And so we came up with various ideas. The method was we needed to create a product. This product needed to satisfy various parameters, which included 1, functionality, 2, culture, 3, it needed to be a monument also, because apart from just being an entrance arc, it needed to serve as a monument for Lagos Free Zone. So we tore our culture into these various aspects: food, dressing, language, respect, greetings, and so many other things that had to do with our culture. We narrowed it down at the 5th or 6th iteration to go with dressing. And so we decided that we will narrow our concept down to the FILA. Now the FILA has various types, but one that stood out the most was the Abenti Aja FILA, which is worn by kings, people of a certain status. And so we said, okay, let us keep our concept around the Abenti Aja cap and fashion our structure after this part of the Yoruba male attire.
Generally, in a project, we have peculiar challenges, most especially time and trying to meet up with the deadline of a project. But in this kind of peculiar project, the complexity of the project was actually a challenge, because we had to sell our ideas even to the contractors to actually understand how to build and bring this to life. This process took time with consistent meetings. We had to meet, create models, block models.
One thing I do as a person normally is that I try to challenge the status quo. I try to do something that is different. The day we decided to incline the entrance arc, where guys was probably the person I told that. I just came to the office that day. I just told him, without even thinking about it, incline this structure. I said, what? I said, incline it. And when I said that, I was just testing. I did not know whether it would work or not. So he did the first one, maybe about 5 degrees or so. And I said, incline it further. And he asked me, will it work? I said, yes now. But when my yes now was not coming from a place of any research or any study or whatever it is. It was just my usual way of pushing the boundaries. Let's just do it. I did the second one, and it was not enough for me. And I told him, incline it further. And that was when we got to almost 20 degrees. At that point, even in my heart, I was not sure whether it would work or not. But we said, let's just test it and see. Until the structural engineers came in and told us to reverse it from 20 to 15. At that point, when they told us that they could get it at 15, that was where I was confident enough to say, okay, let's just move forward. I don't always have all the answers, even when I'm telling you to do it. But I just believe that at the end of the day, one way or the other, even if we have to make some adjustments, we'll get close to the result that we need at the end of the day. And we did with LFC, and it is there today. There were various lessons that we gathered from working on the LFZ entrance arc. And it was a very interesting, so it was also very interesting in the sense that at the building practice, we work with codes. We don't design based on how we feel or just at the spur of the moment. We have codes that guide what the things that we do. Apart from the codes that the internationally acceptable codes that we work with, we also work with our own in-house standard operating procedure, which is the SOP, that guides everything that we do. But working on the LFZ took it a step further to ensure that we are responsible not just to ourselves, we are responsible to our clients, to ensure that the structure that we designed and executed met the minimum requirements of the various codes that were given to us. And what that did for us as an organization was that it strengthened our resolve to design correctly. And designing correctly did not just stop at aesthetics. It extends into the use of acceptable standards, acceptable codes, not just for our own satisfaction as architects, but the satisfaction of the end users and the clients. To young people who are either aspiring to be architects or who have left the path or who think that the profession is no longer as attractive as it used to be, we all know that in the hierarchy of man's needs, there's food, there's clothing, the next thing is shelter. And shelter will always be required till the day the world ends. As long as shelter is required, architecture and engineering will always be here to stay. And irrespective of how unattractive or perhaps maybe they may be looking at it from how lucrative it is and how long the journey takes, I would like to encourage young people to toe the path. It is not a path that leads to destruction. It is not a path that leads to poverty. As the things continue to advance, technology continues to change. It is incumbent on us who are designers and who are creators to continue to change along that path. And this will not end with our generation. Generations after us and generations to come will always continue to need to create things for themselves, and which will always involve engineering and architecture.